Thank you, Chancellor Everett, distinguished colleagues, and associates on the platform. I am, in fact, deeply honored to introduce our Convocation speaker today, Wayne C. Henderson. And with apologies to the committee, I promised a script. I'm going to go off that just for a moment. On this day of pomp, circumstance, and celebration of our academic community here, bedecked with the regalia of the Academy, I have to tell you that 2 days ago I was in Wayne's shop, and the discussion that evening was whether or not we were going to get Wayne into an academic robe or not. It was a vigorous discussion, and I turned down the opportunity to paint his shoes. I did not choose to steal his Braves ball cap, but as I was thinking about what we might do to honor this occasion with a bit of regalia, I looked across the shop, and Herb Kay's shop apron was very much in evidence. And I think, given the nature of the creative process and the art and the importance of appropriate regalia, I would bring that today and perhaps make Wayne more at home than he might otherwise be. So back to the script. I extend a hearty welcome to all of you new Appalachian State University students as you begin this next chapter in your lives in this place for intellectual exchange, scholarship, and the development of notions of service and contributions to the future of our society are the coin of the realm. Welcome, let me begin. Faculty member and North Carolina Poet Laureate, just as Joseph Papanti has remarked elsewhere, that here at ASU, where ideas and intellectual pursuits define our highest aspirations, that in addition to keen intellect, capacious hearts and souls are the engines of our inner fulfillment, judicious actions, and righteous advocacy. He is talking about human success. And in this case, today, in this place, new students, your success. I find truth in that poetic observation, particularly as it relates to our speaker today. If anything inspires a capacious heart, music is certainly one essential component. With his talent as an acclaimed luthier and as a musician, Wayne Henderson has caused audiences in the U.S., around the world, in fact, to dream prodigiously as their hearts grow larger upon hearing him play. He took those skills to the White House to be honored as a National Endowment of the Arts Fellow, to Carnegie Hall, to the Smithsonian, to virtually every important stage across the United States where he has performed with a who's who of major musical talents. Most recently, Wayne traveled abroad once again. He went to England in the company of the governor of Virginia, and I rather imagine that his reception was more vigorous than that according to the governor. How can that be? Well, it has often been noted that after silence, music comes closest to expressing perfection. After silence, music comes closest. I think if we think about that as members of this great collaborative palace of ideas, that most of us would agree that listening is an essential component of meaningful intellectual success. Listening is, of course, key to hearing and to being inspired by music. Think only of Simon & Garfunkel's generational defining song, Sounds of Silence. Listening is certainly one key to Wayne Henderson's success. He has a profound skill to hear potential in pieces of wood, its future resonance. Alan St. John, author of our Clapton's Guitar, Our Common Reading, has remarked on this at length in his book. Combine that rather remarkable skill with the ability to take that wooden material and then shape some of the finest musical instruments being made on the third planet from the sun today. You have the recipe there for inspiration. I've had the pleasure of Wayne's company and friendship for nearly 50 years. We first met at the Galax Music Festival in the 1960s, and while his musical ability matches his ability as a luthier, that remarkable combination is profoundly underscored by his humility and his steady devotion to providing the best possible musical instruments to a growing circle of those lucky enough to be on the receiving end of his work and talent. I received my own Henderson, number 527, on my 65th birthday, and despite what author St. John said about waiting a 10-year period, I waited more than 3 decades. I waited so long because, in part, I did not listen to those in the community that know Wayne that told me repeatedly that I had to bug him on a regular basis. Well, Wayne is an astute listener himself to people, to wood, and for the first 28 years that my order was in place, I had not made my case carefully enough so that it moved him to action. And that finally happened. Let me close by saying Wayne exhibits a rapier-like wit as he engages wood, the world, and this wonderful company. You may expect that in full measure. Listen closely and be inspired. And remember, Wayne Henderson has changed the world with his pocket knife. Colleagues, friends, accomplished faculty, students, I give you my friend from Rugby, Virginia, population 7, Wayne C. Henderson.
Thank you. Bob, that was a pretty fancy introduction there, it seems to me like. I'm just so highly honored and happy to be here. And of all those places I've gone and played, and I don't think I've ever been anywhere where I felt more important than right here. And this is pretty cool. Appalachian State is a wonderful, wonderful university, and even though I live over in the edge of Virginia, we consider Appalachian here our hometown university, and we're so proud. And new students that are coming in just have a wonderful opportunity here and want to be to one of the best schools in the country. And I've had many friends who come here, and every one of them I think have gone on to higher birds and bigger birds and done wonderful things. And so I'm just so happy to be a part here. This old guitar that I'm playing is, there's a story about it in Alan's book, and I appreciate old Alan St. John for writing that book about Clapton's guitar. He gave me probably a whole lot more recognition than I deserve, but I really appreciate that. And I might play you a tune on it. First, this is number 7. It's made 46 years ago, and when I had very little tools and machinery to work with, and advice to new students or anything, you got to have goals, and you got to be persistent, and never think there's anything that you can't do. And when I started making this guitar, I couldn't afford a good guitar, and I thought, well, I'd try to make it, and which seemed at the time a pretty impossible thing to do, to make a guitar with not too much more than a pocket knife and a few tools that was on the farm. And so I had, if you try hard enough, you can do anything. So I come out with this guitar here. This old guitar has been around a long time, but it still works, and I'm going to try to play you a tune now. appreciate that. And you read Alan's book, you know all about the little tiny shop over in Regular, Virginia, where I work, and this is not that far away. You'd be certainly welcome to come visit. I like visitors, and I'll show you anything in there. And there's a line in there about how I make things, how I make guitars. And I still use that old pocket knife a lot to shape necks and carve and do decoration things on guitars. And it's pretty much true. I just take some nice wood and that sharp whittling knife and cut away everything that does not look like a guitar. So you can pretty much come out with this, And about this old guitar, back in 1968, my grandfather passed away, and I would go down and spend the evenings with my grandmother. And I'd take my guitar. I'd just gotten this guitar finished, and it was much better than anything I'd had to play. And take it down to my granny's of the night, and I'd sit around and practice, and Pete give me something to do. And then one evening when I got down there, in came a local moonshiner fellow. And he was the only prominent person in the whole community. He had a good job. And he would come in, and he had this stranger with him. And I wasn't worried at all about the moonshiner, but the stranger I didn't know, and I figured he's got to be somewhat of a crook to be hanging out with the local moonshiner. And I was a little worried about him, but he wanted to come. Back in those days, it was really a very unusual thing to hear of anybody who had crafted an instrument. You went to generally, if you wanted a good guitar, you went to the store and bought a Martin or Gibson or something. And it was very unusual to somebody make one. I had to make one because I couldn't afford one of those. But he came in, wanted to see this guitar, and I showed it to him, and he sat down and played it. He could play good. He could sing and play, and I was real impressed with his playing, and he was really bragging on my guitar. And I thought, well, I was scared of him and all like that, but I was really pleased he was bragging on my guitar. Made me feel real good. And after a while, he got to want to buy it. And because I don't want to sell my guitar, it's the one I play and use and all that. And after a while, I told him, he just kept after it, and I told my granny, all I'm going to do, I'm going to price it so astronomically high that it'll get rid of it. And so that's what I did. I told him, I thought a while, I told him I'd take $500 for it. And which that was more money than I'd ever seen or heard tell of back then, And so he played it a few more tunes and set it down, and he and the moonshiner both left. And I told my granny, well, that worked. They got rid of him. And so the very next afternoon, when I came down to my granny's to spend the night with her, that evening, here this fella came back. He came back by himself that time. He was really scared out of men because he wasn't with the person we knew. And we was keeping an eye on him. He said he wanted to play that guitar again. He played for 30 minutes or so. And after a while, he said, well, I think I'll just take the guitar. And he had 5 $100 bills in his shirt pocket. And that was more money than I'd ever seen or had any idea what to do with. And I hated to lose my guitar. But anyway, that's a lot of money for me. And so that I told my granny, I said, Lord, if I can make money like this is what I'm going to do. And so I've been making guitars for the last 50 years. And so something like that will inspire you sometime to follow your dreams and goals. And with y'all, it could be any kind of thing. Learn, some of y'all may have something to do with curing cancer, something like that, with your education and your start. Anything can happen. To me, it was trying to build a guitar, and so I finally got it done. And so that's a cool thing, just to follow your dreams. And I took that $500, and I didn't even have a car, anything. I had to walk everywhere I went. But I got to thinking, I need some more wood. I need some tools, and I've got a sander and a router thing that I still have and I still use today. And this old guitar, if you can see it, I guess you need to be up close to it to see all the Appalachian pearl work that's inlaid into this hard piece of rosewood. Every bit was done with a pocket knife. So nothing's impossible, you know. Right now, I might think it'd be impossible to set in whittle all these grooves with a pocket knife, where I'm used to running a router around it in just a few minutes. And anyway, this old guitar was gone for years. I guess that fella, having his moonshine connection, sold it off to some other moonshiners, and it had hard use, and it even has a bullet hole in the back of it. I'm wondering how in the world. I got the story just not too long back from a fellow's brother who had done this guitar a while. He claimed he was cleaning his pistol and it went off or something. I don't know if I believe that story or not, but it's certainly got a bullet hole in it. And I might play you another little tune. I've had a real good time being here and playing for you a little bit, and it's just like I said a while ago, it's just such a great honor to be in such an important position in the place here, and it's like I say, the invitation is honest, you know, if you come to the shop, not all at the same time, it ain't that big. But I'd love to have you come by, and I love to talk about wood, you know, and we're going to have some, like at 2 o'clock, a question and answer thing. I have some parts and pieces of guitar. I hope some of you or all of you, whatever, will be around, and I can talk more about building guitars, and Alan will be there to talk about the book, and I have parts and pieces. Hopefully my daughter's going to come up. You know, you've got to pass on your skills, and all these wonderful instructors here, and professors, and they're good ones, judging by all the awards they've been winning here. And they're my instructor for, you know, people like Albert Hash, who's a good builder, Doc Watson, who was one of your most famous people, lived right close by here, and actually a statue of him right in downtown Boone here. And he was people I sort of considered instructors, because they're people I watch and listen to, and if you'll pay attention to them, they'll do good. And so I might play you one more tune, but I'd really appreciate it if you all would help me do this. And if you read the book, there's a story in there about I don't know how old Alan St. John got tickets in 2004 to the playoffs of the Yankees and the Red Sox. And this might justify me just wearing my ball cap and not being dressed up fancy or anything. But how he got tickets to that game, I don't know. But that was a thrill to me to get to go see that playoff game. It turned out to be a game of the century. And so I'm going to play this tune, the one I play lots of times when I go out and play. And what I usually do is play through it a couple of times at the speed you usually hear it, and I'm hoping that you all will sing and help me do this tune. Then after you get through singing, like 2 rounds, I'll speed it up and take the guitar tune out the rest of it. So I appreciate y'all so much being so nice and making me feel so welcome and giving me an opportunity to be here in a fancy place. And I've really enjoyed it and appreciate you so much and hope to see you later. We have other events during the day and just thank you so much to Appalachian State and all our folks. People even that old Bob's fancy introduction there. So okay, here's your part. Here's your chance to perform at the Convocation. And that's probably, I don't know if that's something that maybe you don't always get to do. So here's your part. I'm always on here. And thank you so much. Yeah. Here's your part.
Take me out to the park. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never go back, and it's root for the home team. They don't win, it's a shame, as it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out, but the old ball game. Take me out to the ball game. Come on, Kate. Take me out to the park. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, and it's root for the home team. They don't win, it's a shame, 'cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.